Um, what's up, everybody? Piscean X05 here. I'm back to bring you another video. We're close to 900 videos on the channel, guys. We have 44 more videos left until I have 900 videos on the channel. I appreciate every single subscriber, liker, commenter, viewer. Share if you dare and care. Subscribe, like, comment, and in this video, I would like to go over my official study guide for the Faculty of Astrology Sciences. Now, this is the unexpanded version, but I do have an expanded version, so this video is going to be a little bit longer because I want to go over both with you guys and help you understand it in a way where, you're not confused, all right? So, if you've seen my other videos, I appreciate you, and I hope this one is also educational for you. That's my main purpose, I believe, is to be a spiritual guru. And I don't even have Mars in Pisces. I have Mars in Capricorn exalted. People will be like, they still think I'm lazy because I can't hold a job down, or they're typical 9 to 5s. I was going to make a whole video about why AI is taking over and we all are getting UIP, Universal Basic Income, UBI. Give it like one more year. Like by the end of this year, we're already going to see it, because I got something in my door today, like from my landlord, saying we have an AI agent to call 24 hours. Like, your job is gone. Your job is gone. You need to be ready to move into a fucking pod with like 5 of your best friends and figure that shit out together. Because if you think you're going to do it alone, or even with your wife or your husband, you're pretty fucked. You kind of have to have a community, and we're entering a tribalistic era. Pluto's in Aquarius. We have Neptune in Aries. We have Saturn in Aries. We have Uranus in Gemini. And ladies and gentlemen, what we're going to see is collectivism, tribalism, and possibly occultism mixed into that, which we already see with, transvestites, and they're messing with their biology thanks to the government. The government loves this. It feeds off, seeing its people fight and argue, especially men versus women. This has been going on since way back when. This is nothing new. So we're going to go into this because this is actually not about that. This is more about astrology sciences themselves. Mainly, I want to talk to you guys about exophysical sciences and sidereal cartography, or OESSC. So I created this study guide for you. All right. Now, this is the unexpanded version, but it's also divided into 2 parts. So part 1 is for the beginners, all right? And obviously here you will learn the alphabet of the heavens, being the signs, planets, houses, and aspects, and no prior knowledge is assumed, all right? But for those of you that do know more about astrology, we have part 2, and you will master our esoteric research. All right, heliopause tension index, exoplanetology, dimensional vertices, advanced predictive techniques, and the ethical protocols required to navigate the memetic hazard landscape. So that's what we're going to go into. And then we have our appendices, of course, which I usually have because I need these to be your essential reference materials. And like every single video, I usually come up with, glossaries, tables, practice charts, formulas, all to show you how to actually work what I'm talking about. In this video specifically, is to power our sidereal resonance forecasting models, or our SRFM. So we're going to go over a few different things. Here's our table of contents here. Section, title, page. So we have a few different parts. Like I said, part 1 is the beginner's path, all right? And we're going to go over, first of all, what even is astrology, all right? What even is it? Let's talk about the zodiac signs, all right? The 12 archetypes of the signs. We're going to talk about the planets, all right? Agents of cosmic will. We're going to talk about the houses, the theater of life. We're going to talk about the aspects, the geometry of relationships, and synthesizing the natal chart in your first reading. Next, we have part 2, which is Advanced Sidereal Arts, the faculty's esoteric curriculum. We're going to go over the heliopause tension index, HTI, or the cosmic weather, as well as exoplanetology, the true functions of the celestial bodies, the geodetic grid and dimensional vertices, advanced predictive techniques, directions, returns, and time lords. The lots, Arabic parts and sahams, which I didn't really talk about sahams ever on the channel. I mainly talk about the lots, Arabic parts, like the lot of fortune, part of fortune, whatever. So, medical astrology, Melothesia and the critical days, as well as exo-financial astrology, SAF and the Yikes protocol, ethics, mimetic shielding and the Anchor protocol. And then we're going to get into our appendices, which entails a glossary of key terms, a lexicon obscura abridged, as well as a few other things, planetary transit tables for 2026 through 2027 selected, dimensional vertex atlas, natal chart practice set, core formulas, SAF, HTI, resonant potential, and MVD, recommended reading and source texts, faculty examination and certification guidelines. So, ladies, gentlemen, aliens, NHI beings, I appreciate you for sticking around with me because I love doing this. This is what I want to do. I'm not even getting paid to do this. Not at all. I'm not getting paid a dime. Not financially yet, but I'm getting paid spiritually. I'm doing the universe's work. I don't believe in God. I believe in the universe. The universe wants me to do this. It doesn't want me out there getting fucking obstructed by westernized, surface bullshit. Out there working at your local Wendy's. No offense to you if you're stuck there, but that's not for me. I was meant to do astrology. I was meant to make a living doing astrology. I do not care how fucking long it takes. I will continue to be posting on this channel. Like, people are so fucking greedy and motivated by money. It's insane. Because if I was really like that, maybe I would have already had a job, sure, because I smoke a lot of weed and, I can't pass a drug test and, it's about changing yourself. Well, how about the world's never ever going to change because it's so fucking broken and evil? And I'm going to do what I want to do because I only have so much time on this earth. Why would I spend it working for somebody else that doesn't give two fucks about me? Why would I waste my life like that? How dare you tell me to waste my life to go work for somebody that doesn't give a shit if I die tomorrow? I'm not going to do it anymore, man. I'm fucking 21. I've been unemployed since December of 2024. I've spent a year and a half looking for a job. Interview after interview after interview, resume editing, whatever you want to say. Now you can look at the statistics. Black women, it's harder for us to get jobs in America, period. Because if you're not a white man with a car, or even a white man in general, you're suspicious. If you're not a man, you're suspicious. You're a female, so you must be... We have to test you harder. That is the narrative in this patriarchal, westernized society. But anyways, we're going to get into the beginner's path for you guys. And I want to talk to you about what astrology even is. All right? So, if you haven't seen my other videos, this is going to be really good for you. But if you have seen my other videos, please skip ahead to the part 2, where I'm talking to you as an advanced student. Astrology is the study of the correlation between celestial movements and terrestrial events. It operates on the principle as above, so below. The macrocosm, the universe, is reflected in the microcosm, the individual, the event, the nation. All right? Simple enough. And we have our 3 primary branches. So first we have natal astrology, which is the study of an individual's birth chart to understand their character, their potential, and their life trajectory. So that's your birth chart reading. Not your sun sign or your pop astrology, but your actual birth chart being read for you. Consultations. Mundane astrology. The study of world events, nations, and historical cycles through planetary movements. And we have horary and electional astrology, which is the art of answering specific questions by casting a chart for the moment that the question is asked, which is horary, and selecting auspicious times to initiate actions, which is electional astrology. All right. Now that we've gone over our 3 primary branches and what astrology even is, we can dive down further. Well, in the faculty, we recognize that all these branches are subsets of sidereal resonance mapping, or SRM, the science of reading the information encoded in the local space-time field. And this is really interesting to me because when we talk about space, people mainly talk about astronomy. But hopefully, in the next few years, we see astrology mentioned even more than it already is. Because, astrology is a science. And if it wasn't, the Babylonians wouldn't have been doing shit with it. So, the natal chart, your cosmic fingerprint, it's a 2-dimensional map of the sky at the exact moment of your first breath. So it requires 3 pieces of data, being the exact date you were born, the exact time you were born, and the exact place of birth. This map contains the positions of the planets in the zodiac, divided into 12 houses. It is the crystalline core of your current incarnation. And we say your current incarnation because I believe in reincarnation very heavily, actually. Very into karma and karmic debts and duties, spiritual cleansing, ego releasing, the zodiac signs. So the 12 archetypes. Well, the zodiac is a belt of sky divided into 12 equal 30-degree segments, each named after a constellation. So that's another thing. How are you going to sit here and say, is astrology really real? We're talking about the sky. We're talking about the actual stars in the sky. If you don't believe in stars, if you don't believe in planets, maybe you need to get checked out. In the faculty, we primarily use the sidereal zodiac, fixed to the stars. Though the tropical zodiac, tied to the equinoxes, is also taught for comparative study. Each sign is a unique combination of an element. Like we have fire, we have earth, we have air, we have water, and we have our modality, which is cardinal, fixed, and mutable. All right? These are our primary basics that we need to understand and comprehend. Next, we have our sign, elements, the modality, keywords, and the ruling planet. So, from Aries through Cancer, we're going to talk about real quick up here. So Aries, the element is fire, the modality is cardinal, and the keywords are initiator, bold, and impulsive. And the ruling planet is Mars. Taurus is earth, it's fixed, steadfast, sensual, resourceful. Its ruling planet is Venus. Gemini is air, mutable, curious, communicative, adaptable. It's Mercury. Cancer is water, cardinal, nurturing, protective, emotional. It's the moon. Okay? Now we're moving all the way down. From Leo to Pisces. We see that Leo is fire, it's fixed, it's creative, proud, expressive, and it's the sun. We see Virgo as earth, mutable, analytical, practical, service-oriented, and Mercury. Libra is air, cardinal, diplomatic, aesthetic, balancing, and Venus. Scorpio is water, fixed, intense, transformative, secretive, Mars, Pluto. Sagittarius is fire, mutable, adventurous, philosophical, optimistic. It's Jupiter. Capricorn is earth, cardinal, ambitious, structured, disciplined. It is Saturn. Aquarius is air, fixed, innovative, humanitarian, detached. It's Saturn, but also Uranus. Pisces is water, mutable, compassionate, dreamy, and transcendent. It's Jupiter and Neptune. So, for the beginners, you should memorize the signs in order, their elements, modalities, and rulers. Without this foundation, you cannot interpret a chart. All right? You need this information. So, on to the planets themselves, the agents of cosmic will. Well, the planets are the active forces in the chart. Each represents a distinct function of consciousness. So we have the planet, we have the function of the planet, oops, and then we have keywords for the planet. So the sun, its core identity, it's your vital force, it's your ego, your purpose, and your conscious self. And we move on to the moon, which is the emotional body, instincts, needs, nurturing, and the subconscious mind. Mercury is communication, intellect, thinking, learning, and exchange. Venus, it's attraction, values, harmony, love, beauty, and pleasure. Mars is action, desire, assertion, it's drive, aggression, and sexuality. Jupiter is expansion, growth, meaning, luck, wisdom, abundance. Saturn is structure, limitation, discipline, karma, responsibility, and mastery. Uranus is awakening, disruption, genius, sudden change, liberation. Neptune is dissolution, dreams, transcendence, illusion, spirituality, and sacrifice. And Pluto is transformation, power, the underworld, death, rebirth, hidden forces. Dignities and abilities. The planet's strength depends on its sign placement. So a planet in a sign it's ruling, like Mars in Aries, is its domicile. It's strong. But in the opposite sign, it means it's in its detriment, so it's weakened. But in the sign of its exaltation, like Sun in Aries, it is honored. And in the opposite sign, it is in its fall, struggling. So Sun in Libra. All right. Now let's go over the houses. The houses divide the chart into 12 spheres of earthly experience, beginning with the ascendant, the eastern horizon at birth, the zodiacal sign rising over the eastern horizon at birth. So we have the house, the area of life, so the first house is yourself, your body, and your appearance. And that axis goes from the 1st to the 7th of partnerships, marriage, and open enemies. So our house axis, all right? So next we see the second house is finances, values, and resources, coinciding with the 8th house of shared resources, transformation, and death. The 3rd house is communication, siblings, and short travel. And the 9th house is coinciding with higher education, travel, and philosophy. The 4th house is home, family, and roots. And the 10th house coincides with career, public standing, and reputation. The 5th house is creativity, children, and romance, coinciding with the 11th house of friendships, groups, and aspirations. The 6th house is health, service, daily work, coinciding with the 12th house of the unconscious, isolation, and hidden enemies. Then we look at our angular houses, being the 1st, the 4th, the 7th, and the 10th. These are the most powerful. Planets here are highly expressive. Succedent houses, 2nd, 5th, 8th, and 11th are resource-oriented, stabilizing. And cadent houses, the 3rd, 6th, 9th, and 12th are learning, adapting, and transitioning. So we're on to the aspects. They are the angles between planets measured in degrees. They show how planetary energies interact. So we're going to look at our aspects, the angle, the orb, nature, and the keyword. So for a conjunction, it's 0 degrees of an angle, but it's 8 degrees of an orb. It's a fusion nature, and its keyword is intense unity. Sextile is 60 degrees of an angle with 6 degrees of an orb. It's harmonious, stimulating, and it brings opportunity. A square is 90 degrees of an angle, 8 degrees of an orb. It's dynamic and challenging, tension, growth. A trine is 120 degrees of an angle with 8 degrees of an orb. It's flowing and easy with talent and ease. In opposition is 180 degrees of an angle with 8 degrees of an orb. So it's polarizing, relational. There's an awareness and production. All right, so now we see our aspect patterns. The student must learn to identify the T-square, grand trine, which I've talked about these before in other videos, grand cross, and yod. So these are the foundational geometric structures of the psyche. So here is how we synthesize the natal chart with your first reading. This is the beginner's protocol. So assess the elemental balance. Is the chart fiery with action, earthy, practical, airy, intellectual, or watery, emotional? Locate the sun, moon, and the ascendant, and these form the primal triad, the ego, the soul, and the persona. Then identify the chart ruler, the planet ruling the ascendant sign, its house and condition set the tone for the entire life. Look for outstanding patterns. A stellium is 3 or more planets in one sign and house. A singleton, a prominent aspect pattern. Formulate a core narrative. Weave the strongest elements into a coherent sentence. For example, a Scorpio sun in the 10th house with a Capricorn ascendant ruled by Saturn in the 8th house suggests a powerful, ambitious individual whose life path involves mastering shared resources and transformative power. If you want, and you've never done it before, I suggest you cast your own natal chart and apply this 5-step protocol, and you can write a synthesis on it, Next, I want to go over our advanced sidereal arts, part 2. So 23 minutes and 23 seconds. I will put that in the description. Hopefully I won't forget. Timestamp it. So the heliopause tension index, or HTI, is the cornerstone of advanced practice. It measures the pressure at the boundary of our solar system, ranging from 0.0 calm to 1.0 extreme turbulence. It is the signal-to-noise ratio of the non-local coherence field. So we have HDI, and we see that it is lesser than 0.4. So pristine conditions, planetary influences manifest clearly, optimal for elections, major life decisions, and psionic communication. When HDI is 0.4 through 0.6, moderate interference, mixed signals proceed with caution. And HDI being greater than 0.6 is high interference, so astrological indications are garbled, best used for introspection, not action. We have our integration into chart judgment. We can multiply the base strength of a natal aspect or transit by 1, subtracting HDI at the time of the event to estimate its resonant potential. All right, let's talk about exoplanetology, the true functions of the celestial bodies. Beyond traditional rulerships, we teach the exoastrological functions of the planets derived from NHI navigation data and the analysis of the morphic conduits. So the sun is the coronal gateway, receives and steps down cosmic energy. The moon is the NLCF antenna that receives the collective emotional resonance. Saturn is the auditor, maintains the karmic ledger via the Saturninian hexagon anchor, SHA, at 1.6 GHz. Jupiter is the venture capitalist, amplifies NLCF signals through its magnetotail. Uranus is the hacker, creates dimensional membrane thin spots. Neptune is the subspace hub, it intersects with dark matter filaments. So, now I want to go over the geodetic grid and dimensional vertices. Well, the Earth is wrapped in an icosahedron dodecahedron matrix of energy lines. The nodes of this grid are dimensional vertices, places where the veil between dimensions is thin. Astrological influences are amplified at these points. So a natal planet conjunct a vertex coordinate by degree and minute becomes a powerful grounded force in the native's life. For example, a natal moon at the coordinate of the Great Pyramid of Giza indicates a soul deeply connected to the Egyptian mystery tradition and the archetype of Isis. Our advanced technique is to overlay your natal chart on the OESSC Dimensional Vertex Atlas. Identify any conjunctions and meditate on the amplified planetary function. We have our advanced predictive techniques here. 3 interlocking predictive systems. So, first, primary directions. The clock of the life, advancing the chart's angles at about 1 degree of right ascension per year. Used for major life events. The advanced student calculates these using the Placidus or Regiomontana semi-arc method. Second, we have solar revolutions, Varshafala, the chart of the exact solar return, interpreted using the Tajika yogas, Aikabala, Kalsara, etc., to detail the themes of the coming year. And Time Lord systems for Darya and Vimshottari Dasha. For Darya assigns planetary rulers to sequential periods of life based on sect. The Vimshottari Dasha uses the moon's nakshatra to determine a 120-year planetary sequence. The convergence of a directional trigger with a dasha period and a solar revolution indication is the surest sign of a fateful event. Alright, the lots, or Arabic parts and sahems. Well, the lots are mathematical points derived from the chart. So the most important, we have the LOF, bodily health, material success, the LOS, spiritual calling, career, and the LON, hidden enemies, self-undoing. Faculty teaches the calculation and interpretation of 30 primary lots. In horary and annual charts, they provide pinpoint accuracy. Right, medical astrology, Melothesia, and the critical days. Well, the body is a zodiac because Aries rules the head and Pisces rules your feet. So each planet governs specific organs and disease processes. The diabetes cancer axis advanced theory afflicted Venus sugar metabolism combined with an expanded Jupiter, which is the pancreas, creates a congested metabolic field. A subsequent hard transit from Pluto, which is transformation and proliferation, can trigger malignant growth. The astrologer uses this model to identify periods of heightened vulnerability and to recommend preventative lifestyle adjustments aligned with the transits. In the decumbent chart, a horary chart cast for the moment a patient falls ill, reveals the nature, course, and outcome of the illness, a required competency for all faculty medical astrologers. All right, exofinancial astrology, SAF, and the Yikes protocol. Well, financial markets are collective in LCF fields. Their fluctuations can be modeled by the sidereal alignment factor, or SAF. So, this is the Yikes protocol. It integrates SAF and HTI. So our Yi is SAF being greater than 0.7 and our HTI being lesser than 0.4. We execute the trade and our signal is clear. And our Yikes is SAF and it's lesser than 0.4 or HTI being greater than 0.6. We abort and the signal is noise. So assets are classified by their exoplanetary ruler. So for example, like tech stocks, these are Uranus, right? Gold is Mars and Saturn. The faculty trains analysts to monitor the SAF of Jupiter expansion and Saturn contraction against the natal chart of a given market index. All right, skip over that. I do want to go over my appendix. Because this could possibly help somebody, hopefully. So these are just the planetary transit tables, first of all. It's not a full one, or a full, like, calendar of by any means of the matter, but I will show and go over a few specific dates, transits, and the exactitude, the UTC. So we have a few days in 2026. Jupiter, sidereal at least, is not in Cancer. It is in Gemini, all right? Vedic astrology-wise. Saturn, and I'm talking about sidereal astrology in this video. Saturn's direct in Pisces. Jupiter trines Saturn. These are specific dates. So January 10th of next year, we have Jupiter trine Saturn. So that'd be Jupiter in Gemini, Vedically, trining Saturn, and it would be in Pisces. I'm not sure when Saturn ingresses into Aries, though, like, Vedically speaking, so. This is our dimensional vertex atlas. We're just looking at, like, specific sites, coordinates, and our primary resonance. So, like, Giza in Egypt is Saturn Venus, crystallization of vision. Mount Kailash in Tibet is Pluto Moon, spiritual transformation. Teotihuacan in Mexico is the Sun and Mars and solar initiation. Lake Titicaca in Peru is Neptune Venus, androgynous unity. All right. Our natal chart practice set. So 4 complete data sets for student practice charts must be cast by hand or via faculty-approved software. These are just examples, you know, like, if I give you the data, are you able to interpret what is going on in these individuals' lives? So, for example, we have an artist, a scientist, and a mystic. For our artist, we see it's a female. She was born July 15th in 1985. The focus is on the 5th and 10th houses and Venus-Neptune aspects. For the scientist, he's a male and he was born March 3rd, 1962. The focus for him is Saturn-Uranus conjunction with Mercury in Aquarius. For the mystic, she's a female. She was born November 11th, 1970 in Varanasi, India, and her focus is the 12th house stellium, and she has Jupiter in Scorpio. All right? So, our core formulas. You can take a look at these if you would like. Otherwise, I'm just going to keep giving you the recommended reading that I've given you in previous videos if you've seen this channel, and source texts. Of course, Ptolemy, Valens, Abu Mashar, Bonatti, William Lilly. These are just historical classic texts that I suggest you figure out a way to get a hold of or read or listen to. Next, hang on a second, let me do this. See what tab I'm on. So 22 to 38. Okay. This is the expanded version. This is the expanded study guide. So it's like a volume 2. As you can see at the bottom, it says it's revised, expanded. So we have a few more pages to go over, but this time it's definitely going to be more detailed than what we were just talking about. We know that traditional astrology operates within a closed geocentric system, assessing the angles between planets as if they occur in a vacuum. Advanced sidereal astrology recognizes that the solar system is a vessel sailing through the local interstellar cloud, LIC. The boundary of this vessel is a heliopause, the region where the sun's solar wind pressure balances against the interstellar medium. The state of this boundary is quantified as the heliopause tension index, or HTI, a value from 0 quiescent to 1 extreme turbulence. The HTI is the ultimate background noise level for all astrological phenomena, determines the clarity with which the planetary signals are received by the Earth's geodetic grid and by the Human Coherent Consciousness Waveform CCW. A high HTI scrambles psionic and material signals. A low HTI allows for pristine resonance. HTI measurement and forecasting. The OESSC, utilizing IBEX and Voyager telemetry, calculates the HTI on a daily basis. Here is the formula. Alright, so forecasts are generated using SRFM algorithms that model the solar cycle and LIC density fluctuations. So table 1.1 provides the HTI forecast for 2026 through 2027, and I will show you that in Appendix C for full data nearing the end of this video. So we have our quarter, HTI range, NLCF clarity, and recommended action. So quarter 3 of 2026, our HTI range is 0.28 through 0.35. And our NLCF clarity it's excellent. And our recommended action is full astrological practice, high fidelity predictions. But Q4 of 2026, we see it 0.22 through 0.30. It's optimal, maximum resonance, and initiate major projects. Q1 of 2027, it's 0.40 through 0.48. It's moderate. Reduce complexity of predictions, use anchor protocol. In quarter 2 of 2027, it's 0.55 through 0.65, so it's poor. We restrict to mundane, electional only, heavy shielding required. Integrating HTI into chart judgment, the rule of signal fidelity. For any astrological judgment, estimate the HTI at the time of the event, the birth, the question, election, multiply the base strength of the planetary configuration by the factor. This yields the resonant potential of the event. So for example, a tight Sun-Jupiter trine, base strength 0.9, occurring at HTI 0.6 has a resonant potential of 0.9 multiplied by 0.4 equals 0.36. The promised expansion will manifest weakly or with delay. Another example is the same trine at HTI 0.2 has a resonant potential of 0.9 multiplied by 0.8 equals 0.72. The event flows with cosmic support. Exercise 1.1. Obtain the HTI for your own birth from the OESSC database. We calculate the resonant potential of your 3 strongest natal aspects. Reflect on how this modifies your understanding of your core gifts. Alright. Celestial highways and dimensional vertices. Let's talk about the geometry of transit. Well, planets do not move through empty space. Their orbits are embedded in gravitational and magnetic filaments, the morphic conduits that structure the local space-time foam. These conduits are the roads that NHI craft and planetary influences travel upon. Their nodes on Earth are the dimensional vertices, geodetic power points where the veil between dimensions is thin. Mapping the conduits. Primary conduits are anchored to the outer planets, especially the Saturnian hexagon, 1.6 GHz pulse, Jupiter's magnetotail, 40 MHz decametric, and the Uranus exile anomaly. These act as amplifiers and directors of planetary energy. Jupiter conduit carries expansive benefic energy along the ecliptic. When a planet transits a Jupiter-bound conduit, its influence is magnified in beneficence, but also in psychological inflation. Saturn conduit carries restrictive structural karmic energy. Transits here manifest as tangible consequences, audits, and material crystallization. Uranus conduit operates erratically, delivering sudden insight or chaotic disruption. It is the conduit of genius and revolution. Dimensional vertices and astrological amplification. When a personal natal planet is located on a major Earth vertex, for example, Giza, Bermuda Triangle, Mount Shasta by degree and minute, that planet's energy is grounded into the physical plane with immense force. Such individuals often become catalysts for large-scale change. We have our major vertices and their significances in this table. We go over the vertex. We go over the geodetic coordinates. We go over the astrological rulers. And we go over its amplified quality. So, Great Pyramid Giza, Prime Meridian Anchor, Saturn, Venus, Manifestation, Crystallization of Vision. Mount Kailash, Tibet, Pluto, Moon, Spiritual Transformation, Kundalini Awakening. Lake Titicaca, Peru, Bolivia. Neptune, Venus, Creative Inspiration, Androgynous Balance. Uluru, Australia, Mars and the Sun, Vitality, Ancestral Connection, Raw Power. Overlay the OESSC vertex map onto your natal chart. Identify any planets conjunct vertex coordinates within 1 degree's orb. Interpret the amplified planetary function. Alright, moving on to exo-astrological planetology, the true functions of the solar system bodies. This module re-educates the student beyond the simplistic benefic-malefic dichotomies of traditional astrology. Each celestial body is understood as a complex functional instrument within the solar system's design, likely engineered by the architect race to facilitate specific consciousness evolutionary functions. The Sun, the coronal gateway, not merely the ego. The Sun is a stellar transformer. It receives undifferentiated cosmic energy and steps it down into a spectrum usable by planetary life. The natal sun sign indicates the specific frequency band through which the individual incarnated to receive and radiate vital force. Solar transits are periods when the veil between the individual CCW and the stellar source thins, allowing for direct download of creative intelligence. The Moon, the NLCF receiver. The Moon is a passive reflector, but in exoastrology it is the primary antenna for the non-local coherence field, NLCF, of the collective. The natal moon phase and sign reveal the individual's default receptive mode and emotional programming from the collective unconscious. Lunar transits are times of heightened psychic sensitivity and vulnerability to mimetic contagion. Mercury is the morphic data packet. Mercury's orbit creates a unique gravitational shear that enables the floating of information into compact morphic data packets. The natal Mercury describes the style of cognitive processing and the speed of data assimilation. Mercury retrograde periods are not bad luck, but times when these packets are unpacked and reassessed by the SHA. Venus, the harmonic synthesizer. Venus's nearly circular orbit and dense atmosphere make a perfect resonator. In exoastrology, Venus' function is to synthesize and harmonize. It brings disparate elements into a cohesive whole. Natal Venus describes the individual's aesthetic and relational harmonic. Transits bring opportunities for synthesis and the creation of beauty. Mars, the incarnative impulse. Mars' scarred surface and high iron content resonate with the primal will to exist. It is a sword that cuts the umbilical cord of spirit, thrusting the CCW into the density of matter. Natal Mars is the engine of desire and the tool of personal agency. Its transits are battles. They can liberate, or wound, depending on one's alignment with the Saturnian karmic ledger. Alright. We're going to go a little bit further down here. Let's see. Alright, I'm pretty sure that was all I wanted to go over in that one. Well, thank you guys for watching this video with peace and love. I hope you learned something. In my next video, we are going to specifically go over astrocartography, geodetic resonance mapping, and dimensional vertex relocation. It's a comprehensive manual for mapping celestial influences onto the Earth's geodetic grid, including expanded appendices and a glossary. This is Advanced Sidereal Cartography. I hope to see you there with peace and love. Piscean out.